Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Eagles in Digital Business. A Candid chat with.
All
All
of
of
us.
us.
Happy Sunday to everyone, or happy Monday if you're ready on Monday. So let's find out what is our topic for today.
Welcome to Eagles in Digital Business. Today's topic: why great leaders ask better questions instead of having all the answers.
Yes, thank you, Asma. Yes, so that's our topic for today. But before we dive into our topic, let us introduce ourselves. So, hi everyone, my name is Sandy. I'm originally from Panama, but currently reside in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. I also work in the movie industry, and I'm a proud digital business owner and mentor.
Wagwan. This is Miriam. I am from Jamaica. I am a wife. I'm a grandma for one, and I'm a registered nurse over 20 years. Did I say I'm from Jamaica?
Uh-huh.
And I'm now a proud digital business owner. Over to Christiana.
Hi everyone, happy and blessed Sunday. My name is Christiana. I am originally from Nigeria. I am a registered nurse by profession. I reside in Texas. I am a proud digital business owner. I'm also a mentor. Thank you.
Hi there, it's me, Falak, based in Indiana, USA, a mom of three, from educator to retail operations specialist. Every challenge has shaped my journey. Today, as a digital owner and mentor, I help empowering community to grow, succeed, and find a better future. Over to you, Asma.
Hello everyone, my name is Asma Hais. I am a digital business mentor and business owner. I reside in Texas, USA. I am a proud of mom of three beautiful kids. Today I help people who want to start their own digital business while working around their own flexible schedule.
Hello. So your humble self is Musmola, the face behind muscleconsult.com, originally from Nigeria. I've been a healthcare worker of several years, and now I've added the cap of this amazing digital business to it. So ride on with us and see what we do.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. My name is Isabel. I am originally from Mexico. I reside in the US. I am a wife, a mother, a grandmother. I'm also a former educational assistant, and now I'm a digital business owner and mentor.
Thank you, everyone. So let's dive into our topic for today.
Okay, our chit chat today, it's based on why great leaders ask better questions instead of having all the answers.
Thank you so much, Masumola. So, yes, so that's what we're going to be talking today. So, welcome back to another episode of the Eagles in Digital Business. So, we would like to begin with a question. So, the question is, when was the last time someone asked you a question that completely changed the way you thought about something? Sometimes one good question teaches more than 100 quick answers. As leaders, we often feel pressure to know everything, but the real leadership isn't about always having the answer. It's about asking the questions that help people discover the best and the better answer together. So let's explore 8 leadership habits that begin with curiosity instead of certainty. And for that, we're going to be talking about the following points.
Today's points are: number one, great leaders stay curious. Number two, questions create better understanding. Number three, questions encourage better thinking. Number four, humility makes better leaders. Number five, create a culture where questions are always welcome. Number six, better questions lead to better decisions. Number seven, leadership is about growing together. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Falak. Yeah, so those are the points we're going to be talking today. So let's dive into our first point.
So the first point is about how great leaders stay curious. And that means that great leaders, when you stay curious, you also stay current. Curiosity keeps leaders learning. Every conversation offers a new perspective. You don't think that you know it all. You ask questions and you open yourself to being asked questions so that assumptions often close. Curious leaders continue growing throughout life. Nobody is an epitome of all knowledge. Learning never stops when leadership begins. So don't say because you are now a leader, then you have reached the peak. No, curiosity is one of the greatest strengths a leader can develop. When you are curious about what's going on from another person's perspective, you are likely to discover new strengths, new energy, new strategies of doing things. Choose curiosity over certainty. Let's ride on.
Thank you, Sismos Mola. So Sismos Mola talk about great leaders stay curious. And just like Mosmola mentioned, the great leaders stay curious because a willingness to ask questions, seek new perspectives, and keep learning always opens the door to continuous growth and wiser leadership. So just like Mosmola mentioned, if you stop learning, then it's not going to help you to be able to help others and continue growing. Okay, so let's move on to our next point.
Today, I want to share a simple but powerful lesson. Questions create better understanding. Sometimes we make assumptions without knowing the complete story, and when we assume, we can easily understand people or situations. I have learned that asking the right questions help us understand what is really happening. Instead of quickly judging or giving advice, we can pause, listen, and ask questions. As leader, we don't have to have all the answers. Sometimes the best thing we can do is ask thoughtful questions and truly listen. When we understand people better, we can make better decisions and support them in a better way. Good leadership starts with understanding, and understanding starts with asking questions. My reflection for today is the quality of our leadership often reflects the quality of our questions. So, my takeaway is simple: seek understanding before offering solutions. Let's be a leader who listen more, ask better questions, and take the time to understand before we respond. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thank you, Osman. So Osman talk about questions create better understanding. So just like Osman mentioned, when leaders replace those assumptions with insight, that helps them, to lead with wiser decisions, create stronger relationships, and also be more effective when it comes to leadership. We want to say thank you to Ali and Daniel Soni for tuning in and watching the live with us today, and for also for their like emoji. All right, so let's move on to our next point.
Okay, so I'll elaborate on questions encourage better thinking. All right, so what I found out is that one thing I've learned in nursing and now in business is that sometimes the best way to help someone is not to give them an answer, but it is to ask the question that helps them discover their own answers. I think about the woman who is watching us, who's been working long hours, caring for everybody else, paying the bills, and quietly wondering, is this really how I want the next 5 or 10 years of my life to look? So instead of telling her, you need to change your life, I would ask, what do you really want your life to look like? What's keeping you from moving towards it? And maybe most importantly, if nothing changes, where will you be 5 years from now? In our business, we have no lack of support. You can get with any business partners any time of the day, any time of the night, because we're global. But one thing we encourage is to use that 1-3-1 approach that comes with one problem, three possible solutions, and one recommendation. So that teaches us how to think, not simply to wait for someone else to think for us. Because great leaders don't create followers who need every answer. They ask questions that help people discover the leader already growing inside of themselves. Back to you, Sandy.
Thank you, Miriam. So, Miriam talked about questions and encourage better thinking. And just like Miriam mentioned, when you help people develop confidence, uh, also, you help them, take ownership and build those strengthened problem solving skills and discover their own solutions. This is what help you, when you use the questions that encourage better thinking. So you're able to help them in those ways, just like Mira mentioned on her example. All right, so let's move on to our next point.
Right. Our next point, I will be talking about humility makes better leaders. We all know that no man is an island. No leader knows everything. That's okay. One thing that makes a great leader is being able to say, I don't know, but be willing to learn. For example, imagine you are at work or in your business leading a team. A problem arises and everyone looks up to you for an answer as a leader. You may feel pressure to act like you know exactly what to do, but a humble leader can turn to the team and say, I don't have all the answers. What do you think? Has anyone dealt with something like this before? Maybe someone on that team may have an idea or experience. By listening to that person, you may find a better solution than the one you would have come up with. That doesn't make you a weak leader. It makes you a wiser leader, because when you listen to people, there are some people in your team that are more experienced. Being a leader doesn't make you an island of knowledge. Being a leader doesn't make you to know all. But when you are a leader that have listening ear, willing to learn from the subordinates, you will see that you will become a great leader. The same thing happens in business and in everyday life. We can learn from people with more experience. We can also learn from those with less experience. Sometimes a simple question like, how can we do it better, can teach us something valuable. When we think we already know everything, we stop learning. But when we remain humble, we remain teachable. And when we remain teachable, we continue to grow. Leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room. It is about being willing to learn, ask questions, learn from others, and keep improving. My reflection today is, humility doesn't weaken leadership, it strengthens it. My takeaway today is, the greatest leaders are lifelong learners. Thank you. Back to you, Sandy.
Thank you, Christiana. So Christiana talked about humility makes better leaders. And just like Christiana mentioned, and when you have that willingness to keep learning, instead of, like Christiana mentioned, pretending to know that you know everything, and you start asking questions or learn from others, that builds the authenticity, that create wisdom because you learn from others, and also it builds a stronger leadership. Christiana also added, great leaders don't need to have all the answers. Humility keeps us learning, listening, and growing. So the stronger leaders are lifelong learners. So there you go. All right, so let's move on to our next point.
Okay, our next point for today is sorry. Create a culture where questions are welcome. One of the biggest lessons I have learned is that growth begins the moment people feel safe to ask questions. When I started this journey, I didn't know much about technology, online businesses, or social media. And that was already overwhelming to me. And, I asked questions, but I didn't want to ask too much questions because I felt like, we didn't have that good of relationship with the other person. I was just meeting them. And I think that there were moments when I felt uncomfortable because I didn't want people to think that I should already know the answers. But I learned that growth begins the moment we become willing to ask. Every skill we develop, every opportunity I've discovered, it started with a question. And that's why I believe that the strongest communities, teams, or leaders create an environment where people feel safe to learn, to speak up, and to be curious. When people are afraid of looking unexperienced, they stop growing because they don't want to make the other person uncomfortable. But when questions are welcome, confidence grows, ideas expand, and new possibilities emerge. So, if you're in a season of learning, don't let pride keep you silent. The questions you're afraid to ask may be the one that change your future. So, the people who grow the most are often the people who are willing to ask what others are afraid to ask. So, um, here's what I want to leave you with. Cur- Curiosity creates growth. Never be afraid to ask questions that move you closer to the life that you want. Thank you, and back to you, Sam.
Thank you, Isabel. So, Isabel talk about create a culture where questions are welcome. So, like when you encourage that curiosity and you open the dialogue, and you have those diverse perspectives, right? So that will help you to be able to build trust, be able to strengthen your team, and be able to inspire innovation. So that's what when you start creating a culture, where questions are welcome, that's what it allows. And also, Isabel added curiosity creates confidence. Build an environment where asking questions is celebrated because that's where transformation begins. So there you go. All right, so let's move on to our next point. So our next point is better questions lead to better decisions. One of the greatest habits any leader can develop is learning to ask better questions, just like we were talking on the previous points before making an important decision. Because it's easy to react quickly or assume we already have the answer. But taking a moment to ask thoughtful questions often leads to better outcomes. So, questions like, for example, what are we missing? Or what can we learn from this situation? Encourage us to see beyond our first impression. Another powerful question is what would serve people best? When we shift our focus from simple solving a problem to serving others well, our decision often becomes wiser, more balanced, and more meaningful. I learned this lesson throughout different seasons of my life. During my years in the film industry, decisions often had to be made under pressure. I discovered that the best leaders weren't always the fastest to respond. They were the ones who paused long enough to gather information, ask the right questions, and consider different perspectives before taking action. That approach often prevented small issues from becoming much bigger problems. The same principle applies today. Whether we are leading a team, running a business, supporting our family, or making personal decisions, asking thoughtful questions help us avoid assumptions and make choices with greater clarity. Reflection is not a sign of hesitation, it's a sign of wisdom. Taking a little extra time to think today can save us a great deal of time, stress, and unnecessary mistakes tomorrow. So, as today's reflection reminds us, one thoughtful question today can prevent many problems tomorrow. So, here's the message for you guys: slow down enough to ask questions that really matter, because the quality of your questions often determines the quality of your decisions. So, your leadership and the positive impact you have on the people you serve. So, that's for that point. So, now let's move on to our next point.
Okay, I would like to highlight a very powerful point. Leadership is about growing together. Yes, leader means you are leading. Leadership is not about being the smartest person or strongest person in the room. It is about helping other people become stronger as well. A true leader does not simply give instructions, they listen, they teach, they encourage, they learn, and create opportunities for others to contribute. When team members feel that their ideas and experiences matter, they become more confident and more willing to take the responsibility. Shared learning builds stronger teams. Every conversation can teach us something different. Sometimes the leader teaches the team, and sometimes the team teaches the leader. So it's a part of a journey of growth. Great leaders create more leaders, not just followers. They recognize potential in others and give them opportunities to develop their skills, confidence, and their strong voice. So, my strong takeaway on this topic is many people, leadership is not measured by how many people follow you, but by how many people grow because you help them believe in their potential, believe in their dreams. So I leave you with this today, and that is very powerful. We rise higher when we learn, when we together, when we support each other and make room for others to lead, to fly high. Let's rise together. Thank you.
Thank you, Falak. So Falak talk about leadership is about growing together. Just like Falak mentioned, when you share the learning and you have those meaningful conversations, and you also empower others to create a stronger teams, that help you to develop new leaders and also to multiply everyone's potential. So that's what leadership is about, growing together. We do have a comment here from Visimana Fabian. He say hi Visimana. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And he also say, well done. So there you go. All right. So now let's see what is our key takeaway for this topic.
Okay, today's conversation reminds us that leadership isn't measured by how many answers we have. It's measured by our willingness to keep learning, to remain curious, and to listen carefully, and to ask the kind of questions that brings out the best in others. As leaders, it's let's welcome, let's become known not only for our knowledge, but for our humility, our curiosity, and our commitment to helping others grow. Because great leaders don't begin with having all the answers, it begins with asking better questions.
Thank you, Isabel. So yeah, so that was our key takeaway for our topic today. And now what is our reflective question for the audience?
This week, before offering advice, try asking thoughtful question instead. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? What perspective haven't I considered? How can I help someone think instead of simply giving them the answer? You may be surprised by how much one good question can change a whole conversation.
Thank you, Miriam. Yeah, so that's our reflective questions for our audience. And we have arrived to the end of our live. So today we talk about why great leaders ask better questions instead of having all the answers. So remember, the greatest leaders are not those who always have the right answers, but those who remain curious, ask thoughtful questions, listen with humility, and create opportunities for others to learn, grow, and succeed together. So there you go. So with that, we conclude our topic for today, and let's find out what is our topic for next Sunday.
All right. Next Sunday, we welcome you, our fans. By this time next week, we're going to talk about this wonderful topic, the wide power of consistency in leadership. We welcome you as we talk about this powerful topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christiana. Yes, so that's our topic for next Sundays. It will be a conversation about how reliable daily actions, steady character, and consistent leadership build trust, inspire confidence, and create a lasting influence over time. So we have arrived to the end of our lives. So we hope so that you enjoy what we shared today and you learn, and start implementing. I mean, these are tips that not only apply on a business, but also you can apply it at work with your family. So it's tips that you can include in your daily life. So um, we also want to say thank you to everyone that has watched live with us today. For those catching the replay, thank you so much. And to our followers, thank you so much for being part of our journey, for believing in us, and for engaging with our content. We want to say thank you we want to wish everyone a happy and blessed Sunday for those who are on Sunday, and a happy and blessed Monday for those who are on Monday, and happy and blessed week ahead for everyone. So thank you again for being here with us today. And we'll see you again in our next episode of the Eagles in Digital Business. Again, it's chat with.
All of
All
All
of
us.
us.
of us.
Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you for watching.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.